Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a meeting of Brant County Council of April 22nd, 2025. Attendance has been taken, noting that everyone's here except Councillor Garneau, and she is upstairs waiting to be let in, and she's been let in now, I think. Second thing on the agenda is the land acknowledgement, and Councillor Coleman's going to do that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As we gather, we acknowledge that we meet on the land and the territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nations, Six Nations of the Grand River, and the traditional territory of the Andarok. We remind ourselves that the County of Brant is situated on lands that are full of rich Indigenous history and home to many First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people today. We recognize the significance of their contributions to the past, present, and the future of this land. As a county, we have a shared responsibility for the stewardship of this land on which we live and work, and a commitment to the truth and reconciliation calls to action. We commit to continue learning reflections on our past and working in allyship.
Thank you, Councillor Coleman. Moving on to number 3 on the agenda, which is the approval of the agenda. We're looking for a motion to waive Section 19 of the procedural bylaw for the following addition to the agenda. It's a notice of motion from Councillor Oakley in regards to the Federation of Canadian Municipalities election to the Board of Directors under the resolution section of the agenda. So can I get a mover for that? Councillor Oakley, seconded by Councillor Pierce. And because our little machine is not working for us to take votes any other way than our hands, we're going to put our hands up to support that. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you, which takes us back to the approval of the agenda as amended. I need a mover and a seconder. Councillor Pierce, Councillor Oakley. All those in favor? Thank you. We'll go to number 4 on the agenda, which is the declaration of pecuniary interests. We did. Yeah. Pecuniary interests, if you have any, Councillor Garneau has one, which is on the delegation. So you'll just click off there when the delegation is speaking. Thank you. And the delegation's coming up now, Councillor Garneau, so you might want to go to the fridge and get a drink or something. 501 is the delegation, which is Jerry Paxton. If you'd like to come up to the podium and just give us your name and your address, please, for the clerk. And you've got 10 minutes.
My name is Jerry Paxton, and I'm representing Sacred Heart Church, 17 Washington Street, Paris.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, thank you for the opportunity tonight. As I said, my name is Jerry Paxton. I'm here on behalf of Sacred Heart Parish and Church, a growing community hub supported by a dedicated group of volunteers committed to improving the well-being of our community. Our youth group is one of our most active and inspiring initiatives. I might even say it's a focal point of what we work with. Meeting twice a month, we regularly welcome more than 30 youth who are deeply engaged in social outreach. These young individuals have organized fundraising efforts for local charities like Paris Salvation Army Food Bank, the Society of St. Vincent de Paul. They've also visited the seniors' residences to share conversation and companionship. Simple gestures, but they bring joy and connection.
Can we just check your mic there, Jerry, just to make sure it's on? Because the people that are listening.
Try it again.
There you go.
There we go. I've never been told I've been quiet. So, in addition to the youth group, Sacred Heart is home to active chapters of our Catholic Women's League, or CWL, and the Knights of Columbus, both of which contribute meaningfully to community and charitable causes. Clear communication with the broader community is essential to the success of these activities. In May, and now they've had to change it to June, our youth group is planning a charity car wash. We were hoping to promote the event using the sign located at the front of our church. This sign was replaced during our recent renovations. It's a more modernized technology version of a previously illuminated sign designed to make it easier to update messaging and share important information. The sign was operational for about 9 months before we received a call from the county's bylaw office in January 2025, letting us know they had a single complaint. No formal written order was ever issued. We chose to turn the sign off out of respect and a desire to follow proper procedures. Our property is zoned institutional under the county's zoning bylaw. The sign, as installed, complies with permitted uses within the zone. However, because the light is directed into a residential area, it has been determined that the sign does not comply with all aspects of the current sign bylaw. We believe the concern can be very reasonably addressed through operational measures. We can reduce the brightness of the sign during the day. We can turn it off at night. After exploring our options, we understand the only path forward is to apply for a variance to bring the sign into full compliance. However, the cost of that application exceeds $1,000, and that is a barrier for a volunteer organization that depends on donations. Like many charitable organizations, Sacred Heart Church and Parish operate on a very tight budget, and very often we run a monthly deficit. We rely entirely on donations to fund our programs and cover operational expenses. The cost of a variance application diverts critical resources away from the very community services we're aiming to provide. Therefore, we respectfully request that Council consider directing staff to waive the fee for the variance application, allowing us to proceed through the proper channels to bring our sign into compliance. We appreciate your time and your consideration, and thank you for the ongoing support of organizations that build a stronger, more connected community like Sacred Heart.
Thank you. Can I get a mover to get this on the floor so we can talk about it? Councillor Howes and Councillor Coleman, thank you. Okay, are there any questions to the presenter? Councillor Howes.
Jerry, before you sit down.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, through the chair, through the mayor. So I just want to clarify something. I'm no expert on the sign bylaws, but with the operational measures that you discussed, where the intensity of the lighting can be turned down and it can be timed so it goes off at certain times at night, are you 100% sure that you still have to go through the variance process?
That's what we've been informed by staff.
Okay, just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, we only had one complaint. We did all of the things I've mentioned, but we were told we still have to go through the process.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Miller, Councillor Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through to Jerry. You said you had it running for 9 months before
Correct.
you got a complaint. Okay. When you first put up the sign, you didn't go through any application or anything?
We replaced an existing illuminated sign. We had no idea we needed to go and make changes to anything. We thought it was a grandfathered in situation where the sign had already been there. We just put a more modern one in to replace it.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? So have you moved the sign from where it originally was when,
It's exactly where the old sign was. We didn't move it at all.
right, but it's on posts now. It's on posts now. I went up and looked at it with Tom Luciani. Is it still right there?
It's still exactly there, yeah.
Okay. So do you think that, I mean, if we okayed this and we forgave the costs, or if you paid for this and it goes forward, what if another person, the same person, complains again? What are you going to do?
We'll speak with them to see what the exact complaint is. We're not sure what the real issue was in the first place. They just complained about the sign. They threatened to have it removed. We turned the brightness down, turned it off at night. They seemed to be quite content again. We didn't seem to have any further issues. We didn't hear anything more from anybody.
I'm just wondering whether this isn't going to be, oh, sorry, Councillor Pierce.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. I see Greg Bergeron's online. I'm wondering if he has anything he'd like to say on this, or?
Yep, Greg, do you have anything to say about the sign?
Sorry to put you on the spot, Greg, but I see you there. Since you're here,
Since you're here. Maybe he's not.
on mute.
Okay, Alicia can speak to it.
Thank you. Through your worship to council. So what appears to have happened here is that there was a replacement for the sign. This, Mr. Paxton has indicated they were unaware that they needed to take out a sign permit, so that was not applied for. So we don't have the details of when, or I don't have the details of when it was installed, how long it was there for. We did receive a complaint with regards to the illumination on a neighboring residential property. That is something, and that is one of the reasons why there is a prohibition on illuminated signs facing a residential or agricultural designated areas. So the solutions that this gentleman has indicated would be something which could be determined through a minor variance. So perhaps limiting when the sign is used. But it would require a minor variance for that to happen, which is what my staff has directed. If you want the sign to stay as it is, then there would need to be relief sought from the sign bylaw.
Right. Councillor House.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Alicia. So does the church have to spend $1,000 to go through the minor variance application process and get a permit for the sign? Or does the minor variance process handle all of it, one way or the other?
So through your worship to Councillor House's question, my understanding is that they would require the variance prior to being issued the permit for the sign. I believe the sign permit is $175.
Yeah. Any other questions? Lucas, Councillor Oakley?
Through the mayor to staff, have we done any sort of similar waiving of fees for any charitable organizations in the past? I'm just curious if there's any precedents currently.
Alicia?
Through your worship to Councillor Oakley's question, my team was unable to find any precedents. However, Heather did go back through 10 years of council minutes to indicate that there has been previous, not with regards to sign, but minor variances, facility rentals, temporary rezoning. So council does have a history of waiving fees at its discretion. This wouldn't be something that I would feel comfortable waiving from a staff level. However, it is council's discretion to do so should they wish to.
Okay. Greg, I see that you're there. I saw you. And I'm
Yes, I'm here, Your Worship.
Hi. I'm just wondering, Greg, what happens if somebody complains? Are they going to have trouble with the sign over and over again? Is it going to be a pain for everyone? Because I know that we move when we have complaints, we address them. And if they don't move the sign, and the same guy across the street says it's shining on his television or in his living room, what are we going to do next? Or what does the church have to do next?
Through you, Your Worship, to you. I believe that the proper process here would be to apply for a sign variance. Just to want to do a little point of correction is that this property is actually not zoned institutional, it's zoned OS1, which creates some challenges because illuminated signs are not permitted in these zones. And I believe that's kind of the direction we gave the church, basically to apply for a variance. It would be a public process from what I understand. So whoever has any complaints would likely be able to weigh in. Yeah, there's been, quite a few conversations back and forth with the church, but we do believe, unanimously through staff that a variance is in order here.
Okay, I just don't want it to be something that goes on, and we're, Councillor Chambers and then Councillor House.
I might have missed this. Does this application for a minor variance go before Committee of Adjustment, or does it go before the Planning Committee?
Alicia?
Through your worship, to Councillor Chambers' question, it would go before Committee of Adjustment.
Councillor House.
If this is the appropriate time, Mr. Mayor, I move, as I was the mover to get this on the floor in the first place, I move to adjust that or modify that, amend that to support the church in their request for not having to pay the $1,000 to find out the results of their variance application.
Okay.
If there's a seconder to that.
Is there a seconder to it on the floor? Councillor Miller?
No, not just that. I don't understand what the motion is.
Oh, so to waive the fees, yeah. Simply put.
Okay, and then I think, Mr. Mayor, that would be out of order because we don't waive fees. I think what we have to do is actually grant them the money back. I could be wrong on that, but that's, I think, how we've done it in the past.
Yeah, and from what I've heard tonight, the $1,000, I sort of looked into it too, and I thought it came out to $135, which is a big difference from 1,000, if money was going to come up as the issue. The permit's $175, and that's what they would need now, is a permit.
I mean, I'll second the motion if
Okay.
we can.
Yeah.
If it's, if the motion can stand, I don't know if it can or not.
I'm just concerned that, I don't know what's going to change when the next complaint comes in. Anyway, it's not up to me. Councillor Oakley and then Councillor McAlpine.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor, just on the motion. In principle, I don't necessarily have an issue with it. What I have an issue with is I'm concerned, generally speaking, by us doing these things sort of à la carte and without a consistent policy. If we have precedents in the past of doing these types of things, then I think like we should be looking at here having some sort of policy that we're going to, at large, waive these types of fees for charitable or not-for-profit organizations rather than doing things if people happen to think to come and ask us. Again, I don't necessarily have an issue with the problem, but I have an issue with the process here on, I think if this is the way we're going to go, then we should be developing a policy to do this rather than just do it because, in this case, the organization came to ask us. Because there's other organizations, other religious organizations, Chamber of Commerce, et cetera, that might request these types of things. That would also be applicable in this circumstance. And I think we should be looking for a report to develop a policy on this rather than doing this one time.
Okay, so we have a motion from Councillor Housen. It's been seconded by Councillor Miller. So there is something on the floor that we should, I'm sorry, Councillor McAlpine.
I think there was two parts here. There was the variance that was going to be $1,000, and then the sign application's another $175. So I just,
Yeah, but we don't need both of them now. We just need the permit.
well, they need the variance to get the permit, so they have to have both. That's my understanding.
It's not my understanding. Alicia? Both of them?
Through your worship, should council wish to do so, yes, so the variance would be required in order for the sign to be compliant, and then they could be issued a permit. Greg Bergeron, if he's listening, can maybe step in to see whether or not they have that yet or not. I'm not sure on that part.
Through your worship, yeah, we don't have any applications or variances at this time. The sign is not in compliance with our sign bylaw.
I think with that being said, we just heard it from Greg, so it would be better to vote on what's on the floor, I guess, and it fails because it's not in compliance. So that's something we didn't know until just now. So it changes everything, I think. That's how I see it, knowing that there's going to be bigger signs right around the corner from other churches that are in queue, waiting to see what we do here. Councillor Chambers?
I may be missing something here. The request is that the cost of the variance application be waived. That doesn't mean that we're influencing the variance. The variance has to be heard by the Committee of Adjustment. It will either pass or fail based on the merits of what's presented to them. All that's before us is whether we waive the fee or not, and that's the motion, that the fee for the variance application be waived. It's as simple as that.
Well, it's not, I don't see it as simple as that, because the delegation has come in and told us the zoning on that piece of property is something that it's not.
But that's what the application is to determine, and it will be determined by the Committee of Adjustment
Okay.
on the basis of the application.
Perfect.
All that's asked of us is whether we waive the fee or not. That's the resolution, that we waive the fee, period. So that's the only decision that we're making, whether to waive the fee or not. And I support waiving the fee.
Councillor Pierce?
So not directly to the motion on the floor, Mr. Mayor, but what you were talking earlier, what do we do if the same person comes up and complains again? I know personally, I didn't receive any calls regarding issues with the sign. I just conferred with my ward mate. Councillor Bell has not received any calls either. So I think it was just the one call that went to the church. So I don't think it's a big deal in that sense, but I just wanted to just put that out there.
No, that's good. Anybody else want to speak before we vote? Councillor Coleman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And when it goes to the Committee of Adjustment for a variance, it will be a public meeting, and anybody will have the right to say yes or no, or what they want on their opinion.
Good. Anyone else? It's on the floor. It has a seconder. Want to call the vote? Just hands, or are we going to stand up? Is it hands? All those in favor? Opposed? And carries. Thank you. Number 6 on the agenda is the adoption of the minutes from March the 25th. Councillor Howes, you have that? Councillor Howes, you have that?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Bell that the minutes from the County of Brant Council meeting of March 25th, 2025 be approved.
Any questions to the minutes of March the 25th? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? And carried. Number 7 is any business arising from those minutes? Seeing none, we'll move right on to the consent items. There are none to be approved. We have consent items to be received. There's, I think there's 15 of them. There's 15 of them. Does anyone want them separated? Councillor Miller?
The first one, Mr. Mayor, the Brant Public Library meeting minutes of February 26th. And then any one of those resolutions regarding strong mayor powers.
Do you mean February 26, 2024? 25, I'm sorry?
Yes,
Okay. And any of them to do with,
strong mayor powers.
okay.
There's a
so
few of them.
Let's take 8.2.11. Okay. Anyone else want anything else pulled? Councillor Kyle?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Would it be okay if we just pulled, so to Councillor Miller's point, 7, 11, 14, and 15? Just there's some different things in each of them that might be worthy of discussion if we're discussing one.
You want 7 pulled, 8 pulled?
7, 11, 14, and 15.
14
are
and
the ones
and-
that
and
speak to the
15.
strong mayor.
Perfect. Okay, so we're going to vote on 8.2, .2, .3, .4, .5, .6, .8, .9, 10, 12, and 13. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. We're going to go back to 8.2.1 first. Councillor Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to make, all I have on this is the minutes, right? So that's what I'm going by. And I just want to be clear that they are discussing what happened with the potential library at the Bucket Center. It sounds like they are going to the ombudsman. Is that correct?
Who can speak to that?
Through the mayor to Councillor Miller, that is my understanding, yes, is that they are asking for an ombudsman investigation.
Okay, it looks like it was the last item discussed. It says the motion was approved unanimously. And again, just reading from the minutes, neither of the council reps were there at the time, is that right?
Councillor Kyle?
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. Through you, and Councillor House can jump in as well, but no. Once there was any mention of anything to do with legal, Councillor House and I excused ourselves from the meeting.
Okay, so that was intentional, all right. And how do we find out what the cost for this will be? And does that money, I'd like to know where the library service is getting that money. Is it being pulled from library services? How does one go about finding these things?
Heather Boyd?
Anyone can make an application to the Ontario Ombudsman, and there's no cost associated with that. Where the cost will be, and will be our response to the actual investigation, if there is one. Usually they reach out to discuss mediation and all sorts of steps before they get there, though.
Okay. I appreciate the context with that one. Thank you.
Councillor Pierce?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I had a question on that one as well, if I could. In the minutes, when it talks about the business arising and it talks about the needs assessment being done, can somebody just remind me, like, when the last needs assessment was completed? Was it not in the last, like, couple of years, 3 years?
Probably, that sounds right, but
Through the mayor to Councillor Pierce, perhaps Councillor House can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's 2016 or 17.
Thank you. Through the chair, it's been several years since a needs assessment was done. It was last done prior to the direction to point towards the old town hall,
Okay.
like pre-COVID.
I thought there was one done when it was going that direction, but okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Councillor Miller?
I'm good, thank you.
You're good?
Are we on the next one?
No, we're not on the next one yet. Councillor Pierce, you're okay with that too? Okay. Now, which one did you want to pull first, or can we just go in order? 8.2.7, that's okay?
Yeah, I'll just speak to the strong mayor powers generally. And I guess there was a report coming in May. I don't know where I read that. Maybe it was a Friday file. I just want to, the resolutions that are in front of us tonight, I don't disagree with what they said. There's two things. I'm not a fan of it. It's a little disheartening to think you've been working very hard for your constituents, for your residents, for the county of Brant, and then only to find out from the province that you are just in the way of their priorities. So like I say, it's a little disheartening, but it is the province. They can do at the end of the day what they want to do with us. We are, as they say, creatures of the province. So my feelings aside, and the fact that I don't like it, I don't like the process either. Because I understand what they're trying to do. The province is trying to push their priorities. They see, I think, they see this as a way to advance their cause. But like I said, I don't like the process of this. If they wanted to do this, they shouldn't. I would do it at the start of a municipal council. I wouldn't do it 3 years into a municipal council. And if I just had a provincial election, I would have mentioned that during that too. So I just wanted to get those points out before we see that staff report next month.
Okay. Councillor Kyle?
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. Through you, I'll just comment kind of broadly on all of them as well. And I agree with Councillor Miller's sentiments towards this. I feel like it came out of nowhere and is going to be implemented really quickly. And I would agree if this was something that they were contemplating, I would have liked to have seen more consultation with the municipalities, such as County of Brant, if they were planning to go this direction, and to Councillor Miller's point, have it start at the beginning of a council term rather than partway through. At the very least, then residents know that they're electing a mayor who will potentially have those powers. And then the other thing too is I definitely have some concerns, particularly around the free rein decision-making regarding the hiring and firing of staff. It's one thing to have these be in place to help move forward their initiatives, but that's an entirely different beast that I think maybe destabilizes the municipality and sets staff on edge unnecessarily in some cases. So I just wanted to make sure that I shared those comments, and I agree with Councillor Miller's concerns for sure.
Okay. Has anyone seen my response to receiving the, yeah, so you've seen that I wouldn't use it. It would be only used at the direction of council. I would never use it on my own. I've always thought that this was a terrible idea. I spoke out about it at the conference, that I thought strong mayor's powers were just crazy. It's the first sort of stick through the heart of democracy as far as I'm concerned. I don't get it. I don't understand why someone would think it was a good idea. To refuse it, though, I don't think is very clever either, because there's other things that we can use it for. But I think as long as the mayor publicly states that he wouldn't use it and he's not in favor of it, he doesn't agree with it, to take it away, I mean, who knows when we'll need it as a council. That's the way I feel. If you voted to not have me receive it, which I don't know that you can, but if you can, I don't think you can. But I think that I could put a statement out as to what I feel about it and how I don't think it's a good idea at all, and how I would use it, if I would use it, would be at the direction of council, never a direction of me defeating council or vetoing council or speaking against a majority vote of council. I think that's ridiculous. Then why do we need a council if the mayor can just veto something? Certain mayors suit it very, very well. Some councils have taken it away from their mayors, or their mayors have tried to use it and they've voted against the whole thing. Woodstock went through quite a process of taking it away from the mayor because he tried to use it, I believe. The only one in the room that can quote me on that would be Irene, and she's watching me, so I have to be careful what I say. But I think the statement should be mine. But yeah, I don't think council can take it from me. I can give you a situation where I asked for a full explanation of what a mayor could do with it, and nothing suited me. It's aggressive, it's not fair, it's not democratic. But I do believe in the future, maybe there's some reason that it might help our council at a different level on a different subject someday in the future, to get rid of something that we don't know how it can really be used. I don't think that's right either. So I don't know. I know they voted on it. I saw the votes on all the different municipalities, what they did and what they said they didn't want their mayor to have it. But it's a population thing, and it was coming to us anyway. It was coming to us the same time it came to Amy Martin, because I remember in London at the convention, Will and Amy talking about whether foundations counted as houses, because she was trying to get strong mayor powers then. I don't know what year that was. When did we go to London? 2 years ago? 20, yeah. And trying to figure out whether Norfolk already had enough houses and she qualified because she wanted that, and Will was going to find out whether basements counted as full houses, which apparently it didn't, because she didn't get them the powers until now too. So I know that there's different ways of interpreting population. I mean, a foundation does suggest that there'll be a house. So if you wanted to go that way, and she needed, for whatever reason, the strong mayor's powers back then, I know that the government was trying to investigate whether that qualified. So apparently it didn't. So now we've got them, and council can all have an opinion on them. I'm still finding out what I can do and what I can't do. And I think a statement from me that's been okayed by council would be a great thing. If you trust me. If you don't trust me, then you have your own problems. If you don't know me and trust me by now, then there's issues. Councillor Chambers. Oh, and then Councillor Oakley.
The only, just a comment first. It is confusing, and it's hard to explain why Southwest Oxford, for example, has it and Norwich Township doesn't, side by side. It's hard to explain why Bayham Township doesn't and Malahide Township does, side by side, both the same side. But the only request I would have is that we have an education session so that we all understand what it's all about and where we're going forward from, I guess it's May 1st. So if staff could schedule an education session so that we all understand where we're going and how we are approaching this, I think that would be a good idea.
I don't think changing it from the beginning of another council to now, I don't think, you're either buy into the whole thing and what it does and what it doesn't do. To say we don't like it now, but we'll like it at the next election is kind of a funny thing to say out loud. Councillor Oakley.
Through you, Mr. I just wanted to pop in, since we're talking about this, and say that I agree with most of my colleagues here. The one thing that I would say where I disagree is I do think, you know, as you just kind of said, you know, I don't think it's appropriate to have it even at the next term of council. I think, you know, we're talking a lot about trusting our mayor, and we do at this current time, but I think it's one of those things, again, where the tool doesn't only, we're all in this council, this term of council is fleeting, and who knows where any of us will be in 4, 8, 12 years, and these powers persist, and it only takes one election where you end up with one bad actor, and you have, you know, severe consequences when you don't have the balance of council being able to check the mayor and so on and so forth and back and forth. You know, just my 2 cents, I oppose these powers just on the basis of that. You know, it completely throws off the balance of our sort of democratic system here, as much as in the current circumstances, it's not not the end of the world, obviously, but we don't live in just this term. So those are my 2 cents.
Yeah, if council decided to take a vote right now and took the powers from me, my tomorrow doesn't change. I don't think about strong mayor powers. I think we would look foolish in the future if there was some benefit to having them and we gave them back. There's got to be something bigger coming of this. That's my only thing. But if you were to take them, say, I don't want our mayor to have strong mayor's powers for whatever reason, doesn't matter. And you voted and it passed, life goes on for me. It never meant anything to me, and it always seemed odd to me that somebody would have more power than somebody else, when we always say there's 11 votes. That's the way it is. That's how I get out of problems where people accuse me of ruining Paris. I say I'm 1 vote. I don't want to say I have superpowers and wonderful powers, and yeah, I screwed up Paris. I don't want that. I don't want that burden, because I didn't screw up Paris. And I always take great pleasure in saying there's 11 votes, I'm only 1. Sorry that you don't like Paris. Saw your house move. No. I'm being funny. Councillor McAlpine.
I think it would be appropriate, and I hope we all agree, that maybe we'll take a closer look at this after we have our staff report back, and then have further discussion in the future, maybe in the following month. Just following up what other councillors have said, we may have full faith in you, but we don't know who the next person is going to be elected who may abuse these. If we had a Trump at the head of council, it might be a different story. So,
No, that's true.
yeah.
You don't know, and there's no argument to that. You don't know, you can't predict the future. And we're very lucky, and I'm kind of a little saddened right now that our council is not as unified as it used to be. I know people that are teaching politics at college levels that always say, if you want to see a good council meeting, watch Brant's, because they enter as friends, they get the business done, there's the odd joke, the odd little bit of levity, and then they leave as friends. And I'm detecting cracks now, and I don't like it. I spoke with the CEO just before this meeting about it, seeing if there was some sort of a retreat or somebody to come in and tell us to behave ourselves or something, because it's bothersome when we were sort of a stellar council, according to everybody, all of our neighbors. And I know them all, from Shelley to Amy to everyone said the way council in Brent was run was very good, and work got done, and everyone seemed like they left the room as friends, and everyone was working for the betterment of the county of Brant. And you're right, that's just now, and that's to the end of this term. and who knows what's going to happen next time. So there's no debate to what was said about that. Councillor McAlpine's absolutely right. Next council can look completely different, and we might think, yikes. So right now, I think maybe that's what we should do. We should have an information session and find out what the mayor's powers really mean and what the mayor could really do. Allison?
Thank you, through your worship, to council. First of all, I just want to make an item of clarification, because it's my understanding, and I don't believe council can take these powers away from you. I think they're granted by the province, and what you choose to do with them is what you choose to do with them. So I just wanted to put that on the table. May 5th at the policy meeting, staff will have a staff report. We'll try to address as many questions that were brought up today and try to go as in-depth as possible. And I would suggest perhaps after that, if there are still questions about the strong mayor powers themselves, or if there's still things you'd like staff to dig into, we can then decide whether we want to schedule a separate education session. But we will try to go as in-depth as possible at the May 5th meeting.
Yeah. Any other comments, questions? I mean, we don't have to speak to every one of them, do we? It was just all different ways that municipalities decided to handle it, or their thoughts on what they voted on it, just to get the flavor of the day. But some of them didn't want it. I mean, to not want it is not to say that you can take it from me. And I hope the minutes don't reflect that you tried to, or that you suggested that I shouldn't have them. And I hope the minutes don't even smack like that, because that's not what I heard. But I did hear a lot of conversation, so. But I did always, when the mayor of Brantford got his, I was nervous. And I did speak out. There has been articles written where I've said that it wasn't right, and I didn't get it, I didn't understand it, and I found it very undemocratic. So with that being, I think that's enough to be said. So we can vote on the rest of them together. Yeah, all those in favor of 1, 7, 11, 14, and 15. All those in favor? Thank you. Committee reports. Councillor Miller, you have that.
I do, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, second by Councillor Pierce, that the paramedic services report of March 26, 2025 be approved, noting that there are there's a recommendation.
Are there any questions to Councillor Miller about his report? Seeing none, all those in favor to receive the report? Opposed and carried. Administration Operations Committee report, Councillor Pierce, that's yours.
Yes, thanks, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Kyle, that the Administration and Operations Committee report of April 15th, 2025 be approved, and the following recommendations, which there are 8.
Any questions to Councillor Pierce's report? Noting that there are 8. Seeing none, all those in favor of receiving Councillor Pierce's report? Staff reports. The library, who has that? Who has the, okay, I need it moved then to get down the floor so we can talk about it. Councillor Coleman, Councillor Pierce. And this is the time that we're going to replace my resignation on the board at the library with another citizen member. We need election. Councillor Pierce, or Councillor House?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, and just as a point of clarification of process, if we can just double check this with staff. So you have resigned from the library board. We're looking at another council member to be your designate. And in addition to that, we lost a citizen member of the library board, just for clarification, people who are watching. We lost a citizen member who had to resign due to an issue they had because they became a volunteer firefighter and couldn't be both. So we need to replace them, and that's a public process.
Right.
where people will be invited to apply, and that'll be advertised through our communications department. But if this is the appropriate time, I move that the replacement of your position on the library board, I would nominate Councillor Bell. If there's a seconder to that, I'll speak to it briefly.
Seconder, Councillor Kyle?
Thank you. Yeah, and I think Councillor Bell attended one of our meetings recently and sat quietly off to the side and observed. And given that the creation of a new main branch library is still a very top priority for the library board, and given that Councillor Bell has considerable experience having dealt with the creation of the Health Hub in recent years, I think Councillor Bell would be a benefit, and his expertise would be a benefit to the library board and a good voice.
Good. You got a seconder? Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, Councillor Bell, you accept? Guess we should vote. All those in favor of Councillor Bell taking the seat on council to the library? Opposed? Okay, and the other person will be replaced by process. Good.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, and when will that process begin?
Start right away.
Immediately.
Okay, we're at 10.2, are we? Get a, I'm sorry?
We need a vote for the original motion. We just had
Oh, we need a vote for the original motion. All those in favor? For the bylaw. Okay, opposed? Okay, now we're at 10.2. 10.2, I need someone to get it on the floor. Councillor Miller and Councillor McAlpine. And who's going to speak to that? Greg's just here to answer questions. Does anyone have any questions for Greg regarding the taxi cabs and? No? Councillor Pierce?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor, through you. So I just want to confirm, I know that one of the folks that we had speaking on this had stated that one of their vehicles at that point in time was the 10-year. So I'm hoping that they were able to kind of prolong that until this was put through, and then that vehicle should be okay. That vehicle, I just want to understand, was that vehicle allowed to continue service, or was it pulled? Do we know?
Do we know whether that vehicle was pulled?
Yes, through your worship. So I believe the licensing officer provided instructions that that vehicle was not to be used because it didn't meet the parameters of the bylaw at that time. Barring any changes from tonight's council meeting, it will be an allowable vehicle to be licensed after tonight.
Thank you.
So it was taken out of service for approximately 30 days.
Any other questions for Greg regarding the age of the vehicles that, no? All those in favor? Opposed and carried. Communications, we have none. Resolution, proclamation request from Lucy Marco, declaring the month of June as Seniors Month. Is that on our list of things we support? I believe it is, seniors. Get it on the floor. Yeah. Oakley and Chambers. Any questions to the proclamation request that June be senior moment? Month of June be Seniors Month. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Notice of motion, Councillor Oakley, we already did that, didn't we? Oh, okay. Councillor Oakley, do you want to speak to that?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I will speak more to it on May 13th, our next council meeting, but I would be interested in seeking election to the Federation of Canadian Municipalities Board, representing Brant.
So you're just giving us notice that it's coming forward. Councillor Miller?
Perhaps when Councillor Oakley speaks to it, he could answer my question with regard to the very last clause as far as costs go.
Yeah. He said
Maybe I,
Costco,
maybe
not
I could
Costco.
ask, does FCM not cover any of the hotel costs or flight costs? Did they not cover any costs? Do we know?
We can't talk to about it right now.
Oh,
can
we can't?
I don't think so. I think we better, when Councillor Oakley brings it forward, he might have some numbers.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll be fine then. Okay,
yeah, he'll be back.
just wondering.
Thank you. Other business? I didn't ask, but does anyone have anything? No? Councillor Pierce is starting to shake a little bit. He wants to get, Councillor Coleman, or Councillor Chambers.
Just a question. I must have missed the first, it took me by surprise. The first resolution we did, that was a resolution to waive the procedural bylaw to allow this to be on the agenda?
I believe that's,
Or was it a motion to waive notice?
it was a way to get it on the agenda today. Councillor Oakley, do you want to speak to that?
Mr. Mayor, I was talking to the clerk about this. So normally I would have submitted this on Thursday, so it'd be on our agenda initially. But because of the holiday, the agenda came out earlier than expected. So I tried to submit this yesterday to find out that a notice of motion has to be submitted on the agenda the Thursday previous, and that's the clause that we waived, so that it could be on the agenda for tonight rather than putting it at policy meeting next week to then be presented for the actual motion. It's just to make sure that the actual resolution notice gets on the agenda here.
You okay with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. It would have been, I'm not sure why it could not have been. Are there any additions to the agenda? Yes, I have a notice of motion that I would like to present it to resolutions. I think would have accomplished the same thing as long as we're not discussing the resolution because it is a notice of motion.
Got that? We got that. Thank you. The next thing is the bylaws, and Councillor Oakley, you have them, seconded by Councillor Kyle.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Kyle that bylaws 39-25 to 46-25 be read a first time.
All those in favor of the first reading of the bylaws? Second reading, please, Councillor Oakley.
Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Kyle that bylaws 39-25 to 46-25 be read a second time and all preambles and clauses be adopted.
Any questions to the second reading of the bylaws? Seeing none, all those in favor of the second reading of the bylaws? And if you can just do it for us one more time, please, Councillor Oakley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Kyle that bylaws 39-25 to 46-25 be read a third time, passed, signed, and executed.
All those in favor of supporting the third reading of the bylaws? Number 16 is the next meeting, which will be, I'm going to put call of the chair. We have one more? No, I'm fine. I'm done. Next meeting will be call of the chair, and I'm looking for a motion to adjourn. Councillor Pierce, go.
Go Leafs, go.
Success,